Complaining. I'm glad we can keep teaching and learning during this global pandemic, and we'll try to maintain as much normalcy as possible. This Zoom link that I've highlighted here, that's the Zoom link you're going to use for classes. It's open half an hour before class and half an hour again after class so that students can interact with each other without me being there. You can also use GroupMe, which you signed up for on the first day of class, to communicate with your small group outside of class. I also keep chat enabled when we're in a live class in Zoom so that you can chat privately with people during class. Just be respectful and don't abuse that. But if you're asking a friend in the class, wait a minute, what did Wilson just say? Or, you don't look so good. Are you okay today? I don't mind you using chat for that. Don't let it get in the way of your learning though, or anyone else's. And you all understand not to give someone unwanted attention over chat, right? That sort of thing ends up in judicial pretty fast. People don't get a free pass just because we're working in a virtual environment. You all probably know the hand raise function in Zoom too, which is the best way of getting my attention for a class question or a comment, especially since our class is relatively large. You see my office hours here. Now, I'm not exactly sitting in front of a computer as I would be sitting in my office on campus during those times. Instead, I have you sign up in advance for times, and you do that using this link that I've highlighted. Sign up 24 hours ahead so I know you're coming and I can plan accordingly. If none of the times listed work for you, drop me an email and I'll find a time that works for both of us. But still, try to give me a day's notice so I can organize my workday. Once you've made an appointment at that time, you just go to this link, which has a waiting room so you don't accidentally interrupt someone else's appointment, and that's why the office hours link is different from the class link, so I can have different settings. By the way, sometimes students are reluctant to come to office hours because you think you're bothering us. I don't know, maybe there are some faculty who feel that way, but I certainly don't. I love working with young people and participating in your development, and I hope that comes across. You'll make me happy if you show up for office hours for some one-on-one time. And you should understand by now that coming to office hours is a great way to show a professor that you're serious about a course. And that can give your grade a little bump. For example, if I see something in your paper that's not quite right, but I know from office hours that you do understand that point, maybe I'll give you credit for it. But if you've never been to office hours, I can only go by what you actually wrote. You can read the description yourself. In the format section, please notice cameras on all the time. Static backgrounds are allowed. If you have to Zoom from your bedroom, just don't lie down in bed. Yeah, I actually had to call someone down for that over the summer. Commons, be realistic. You're probably not going to pass the class. But of course, if something unavoidable happens, communicate with me as soon as possible, and I'll work with you to complete the course. Please read your email and set up your Brightspace notifications. This is more important than ever. It's not like I'm going to meet you on the sidewalk, unfortunately. Here on page 2 are the books. Everything is available electronically, but I really recommend that you get the actual books so that you can mark them up and make notes in the margins. There's research that shows that you learn better that way. That's for numbers 2 through 4. There's a PDF of number 1 on Brightspace that you can print out or download. And number 5, you just use electronic. What's less familiar, and recent ideas are more familiar to us than ancient ones. The second reason is that Mill's ethics, the newest, the almost second newest we're going to study, is much simpler than Kant's or Aristotle's. The fourth book is by a living philosopher, Virginia Held, who presents an ethical theory that comes out of feminist thought and criticizes all the other philosophers we'll read in the course. So it's good to read them first to know what she's criticizing. It's also really helpful to read Held's criticisms because she'll really assist us in recognizing the weaknesses and limitations in the older theories and show us why we need to learn to think for ourselves about these things and not just take on other people's ideas about them without exposing them first to critical questioning will get graded on whether you know those skills in the final paper. Second, I don't want you to worry about getting graded individually for group work, which, as you know, is often a mess. So you're required to participate in group exercises, and you get credit for the work you do in group when you demonstrate those skills in the final paper. So due dates for all the assignments are on pages 4. You go back here, you see in the curriculum map that every assignment has a particular color, and over here, they're color-coded. You'll get the detailed requirements on Brightspace for each assignment well in advance of the due date, at least 2 weeks for smaller assignments, and longer than that for bigger ones. Each learning module will go on Brightspace at least 2 weeks in advance. The other thing to notice on the schedule is that we will not meet on September 28th. That's not a university holiday, so you may have other classes meeting that day. I'm Jewish, and that's Yom Kippur, which is our most important religious holiday of the year. I won't be working or even using electronics that day. Page 6 is stuff you already understand. Don't cheat. Be in touch with disability support services if you need special accommodations, and understand that the syllabus is probably going to be revised a few times during the semester as things develop. I don't do a lot of that, but sometimes I find a mistake here or there, or I make a change because I become convinced that you guys will learn more effectively if I do. Now just going to find the same thing in 2 or 3 different places. So handouts, for example, are in the submodule for the particular date that we're going to use them. And they're also in this section called handouts, so that if you're looking for a handout, you don't remember which date we used it, you can just go to the handouts link. And by the way, don't be confused because there's a handout called 1C, but no 1A or 1B. I just do that so that the name of the handout matches the name of the submodule we're using it in. That doesn't mean there are missing handouts called 1A and B or 2A through C and so forth. Likewise, something like a discussion board forum is up in discussion boards at the top, but it's also linked in the submodule for the day when it's due. So that's really the only place where you have to look for it. And the same thing is true for assignment prompts and submission folders. They'll be all together under assignments. Each of them will also appear in the module on the date when it's due or when I release it. So don't start spinning and freak out about whether you submit your paper under assignments or within a learning module. It doesn't matter because it's the same folder in both places. And by the way, you may know this already, you may not. I actually see what you have and haven't looked at in Brightspace, including how much time you've spent on something. Now, I don't pay a lot of attention to that. That's kind of Big Brother in most cases. However, if a student is having problems in the course, I am going to look at your Brightspace log and see whether you've been looking at the videos, downloading handouts, etc., how long you've been spending on the site, so that I can give you advice about how to improve your work. And I think it's only fair to you to know that your professors can access this information. Just notice that your first written assignment is a reflection and reply for September 9th. The assignment prompt for that is in Module 1A in Brightspace, as well as under discussions. Be aware that the reflections are all due before 11 p.m., the night before the class therefore. So reflection and reply, the reflection and reply for September 9th is due before 11 o'clock on Tuesday night. And by the way, I say before 11 o'clock because the way that Brightspace works, if I set a time that it's due at 11 p.m., Brightspace locks it at 11 p.m. and 0 seconds, not 11:01. So if you go in and submit it precisely at 11, you're not going to get in. There are no late reflections and replies accepted, but I do drop your lowest score. There are 11 reflections and replies, and you get graded on 10. Generally, as I think I mentioned before, I don't accept late assignments in the course. However, if something extraordinary happens, of course, get in touch with me, let me know about that, and I will work with you to help you complete the course successfully. So bring your questions about the syllabus and the Brightspace course to class with you on Wednesday. If you have a question, other people probably have the same question, and they'll benefit from the answer too. So you'll be doing a public service if you bring a little bit of my background and invite you to introduce yourself to us. After you watch that and post your own introduction, I will see you on Wednesday afternoon.